Hello, Dad, and welcome to the squad report for March of Season 6. And we start with Sean Hill, Sean the Hare Hill, the lad from Northampton itself. And he was unhappy, August, September time, and spent a bit of time complaining about the amount of matches he was getting. And it looked like he might leave, but he didn't leave. We made him happy again. We gave him more playing time. He was happy. He didn't leave, and he's now grown to an 87 overall. So next season, at 21 years old, he should grow to 90 overall and be one of the best goalkeepers, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And yeah, wow! Look at his market value, almost 50 million. So we would have made a lot of money. Here's Ian Simone now up 2 points to an 80 overall. This could be his last. Well, maybe not this season, but season 7 I think could be his last season. With the lads that we're bringing up from the youth academy having higher potential than him, this could be his last season. Then we've got Damien Arojo, our summer signing, and he's up to a 79 overall. He's going very nicely across his stats there. So yeah, very happy with him. He's been a really good signing. And here's another one. We just signed this guy in January. The only January signing we made, Sebastian Velasquez, a regen of Uruguayan centre back Diego Godin, who plays for Atletico Madrid in real life, and has regenerated. And as you can see, he's got great jumping, great strength. He's fast for a centre back. He's got fantastic heading ability. He's got great tackling and marking, interceptions, etc. He's just a great all-round player, and yeah, it's been a joy to play with him in central defence so far. Though he's not actually had too much to do, but that will change, I think, as we play some more competitive matches in the coming months and seasons. So we're very happy to have him on board. And then we have Khalif Al Mahalat, another player who was on the verge of maybe leaving the club. For the second season in a row, he spent the autumn saying, "I'm homesick, boss. I'm thinking of leaving," and then changed his mind at the last minute, and he didn't leave. And we were able to block all offers for him and keep him at the club. And he's a fantastic left back, and he has the potential to be special, so we want to keep him. Here's Americo Cortez, and now I thought Cortez would not be the first choice centre defensive mid at this point in the season, but the individual stats of Kude have not grown enough to overtake Cortez, so Cortez will remain the first choice CDM for the remainder of the season. And then we have Bolasov Shermak. This lad's really stepped up his game this season. He seems to be linking up very nicely with Oliva and the other players, and he's scoring goals and getting assists, and yeah, really happy with him. Then Valentine Vasquez, I mean, this guy's been in since season 2, I think, but he was in the youth academy very early on in season 1, and growing nicely there, and has just grown and blossomed since. And I love him. I love taking long shots with him. Great player. Abu Misawi, another one like Cermak. He's come into his own this season, and he's starting to fill Iki Kartinen's shoes. It feels like he's a bit better on the ball, better at crossing, better at controlling it, better at dribbling past players. And he's even scored a couple of goals, which I don't think he'd scored any goals before this season. And we've got George Ikasi Oliva. Now, it's been a bit frustrating with Oliva since he joined. He is a bit inconsistent in terms of how many goals he can score, but I think I might have fixed it by changing the player instructions. So I hope he's going to score more goals than he has been. We might lose some assists, but we have plenty of players who are good at providing assists in the team, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem, I don't think. But he is a very good player. Then Pierre Martin, our American left winger there, up 3 points to an 83 overall. And yeah, he's not far behind Liam Carter. I mean, Carter is a bit faster and just a bit better, just as a general player. But yeah, great player. Then Sasha Abu Hanna has now dropped down to the second team because of the purchase of Vasquez. But again, I love, like, this guy's just a really solid player. He just doesn't do anything wrong really, unless I make a stupid decision to make a stupid tackle in the box or something, and then I do not blame him at all. It's all my fault. Tomescu Stoiker, a player who could be maybe, into the last year or so of his time here. He feels like he should play more, so I'm gonna have to rotate the second team in more, aren't I? There's some unhappy players who want to play more. He does come off the bench a lot though. He comes off the bench a lot and takes Vasquez's place, and yeah, he picks up the odd goal and the odd assist, and he's a good player to have around the club. Liam Carter. What can I say about Liam Carter? He could be up for the Player of the Season award. Sorry, I'm scrolling back here because I got confused about Carter being on the bench. I've now fixed it in the game itself. He was supposed to be in the starting lineup. So here I am trying to find him again. There we go. Yeah, he could be up for Player of the Season this season. He's had a great season. And yeah, I really like playing with him. So in a moment we'll move on to Gihujil. Any second now. I'll probably rabbit it on for, there we go. Gihujil, one of our 4 South Korean players that we've brought through the youth academy. 4 points of growth to a 72 this season. He's an exciting prospect and he's growing nicely across most of his stats, which is really great to see. I think I put him in for a bit of training at the start of the season, but other than that, he's pretty much been growing on his own. And he does look good when he comes on as a sub or plays with the second team. So I've got high hopes for this lad. I think he'll be good. Yeah, one of 4 keepers we've promoted from the youth academy this season. It's Sean Martin. Now he's been dropped from the second team to give Hill more matches and to try and get better results, but this is I think one of 2 keepers we'll keep around yeah, for the future. And he's grown with training and appearances to 70 overall, 9 points of growth. Luka Malika. Now, I genuinely think if we played Luka Malika against teams lower down the league, he would be scoring lots of goals, but we tend to play the second team against teams higher up the league so that we lose the match. But yeah, I think that'll be different next season, and we'll see Malika kind of, really start to score goals. Is Sam Kude, yeah, the man who really should be the first choice for the CDM position, but he's not quite there on all of his stats yet. But as you can see, he does have some pretty fantastic physicals that are growing nicely, and the technicals some of them are just insane for a player of his age. So very good. And we have Il-sung Ryu. Now I'm not sure about this guy. He's got low work rates. He did almost score a goal coming off the bench against Austria Wien back in August. So I think he's got a little bit of maybe an eye for goal, but I feel like the work rates might not be good. Might not work for an attacking player. They do work for Kude, interestingly. He has a little low work rates, but he does seem to work quite well. Sebastian Holm now, our Danish centre back, exciting prospect. He's doing very well in the second team, and he's played a couple of matches, I think, for the first team as well. I brought him in before Vasquez came in. Then we have another one of our keepers that we promoted, the 64 overall Owen Green. He has grown 8 points in the training. I don't know if we're going to keep Owen Green though. He might be one of the ones we offload. And yeah, an exciting prospect. Decent goalkeeper. Oh, this is one of my favourite youth player we've promoted so far this year. Cian Walsh, an Irish, has potential to be special centre back with some really nice physicals and some 6 points of growth since he was promoted. and that wasn't that long ago. That was only, I think, in December. So he's responded very well to the training, and I can see this lad playing in the Champions League final for Northampton and helping strengthen Ireland's future international qualifying campaigns and competing in tournaments. We've got Eric Taylor, our Canadian CDM. Now, Taylor's good on his technicals, but not so great on his physicals. He's a little bit lower on his physicals than our other CDM, than our other recently added CDM, Olsen. So this is a guy we might move on, but I'm going to give him probably another season before we make any decisions. Then we've got Vukajar. Vukajar, great second choice left back. Really seems to be growing and maturing into the role. And yeah, he almost became the first choice because we weren't going to buy a left back to replace Al Mahalwad because I couldn't find one that was good enough out in the transfer market. Then we have Evan Olsen. This is the centre back, the central defensive mid. Sorry, I was telling you about. I think he's Norwegian. As you can see, he doesn't have that great an overall, but he hasn't been in the training, and he has started with some really good starting physicals, and he is growing. He is growing across the stats that we need him to grow on, and some that we don't necessarily need him to grow on. So I have high hopes for him. Then we have Kai Wen, has potential to be special Chinese goalkeeper. He's grown 6 points to a 66 overall, and his reactions are growing nicely. So he had the lowest reactions of all the keepers we've promoted this season, but they are growing, which is something that wouldn't necessarily have happened in previous FIFAs. So I have really high hopes for this keeper as well. We just need to get him back in the training soon. Get him up to scratch. We're not going to bother talking about McNally Otero, our on loan striker. He's had a couple of sub appearances, mainly in the Sims, but that's been it. He hasn't really done anything. Adam Duna, he's another one who's unhappy. He wants to play more, and yeah, like he's a good player, but again, I think he might have, because of his potential, he might just have the one season left in him after this one, and then we'll sell him on. But if we get a very good offer for any of the players that we're considering selling at the start of season 8, then I might take the money there and then. But he's a good player, you know. He's a good player. Eric Martinsson has potential to be special Swedish midfielder. He's starting to pick up, you know, the scoring habit for the second team, and I'm happy with him. I've even put him on the bench a couple of times for the first team when he's come on. He's looked alright. We've got Min Jae Suk. Now you might be wondering, why have we got yet another right-sided right winger, right-sided midfielder? Well, this guy has all the attributes of a good striker in the future. So we're not going to use him as a winger. We're going to train him up and use him as a striker. And we could have a very good, you know, South Korean striker playing up front for us in a few seasons' time. And it'll be Min Jae Suk. He has the potential to be special, so he's grown well without me training him, but we will get him in the training. Oh, maybe I have been training him a little bit. I think I might have trained him a little bit. He hasn't been in the squad that long. So, yeah, I think I might have been training him a little bit. But yeah, we're trying to get him, turn him into a striker. But yeah, his position will always say right winger, but we'll play him as a striker. Our Egyptian now, Saeed, the right back has potential to be special. He's now taken over from Vladan Hornik, who we sold in January. And this guy is another guy who I can see playing in the Champions League final for us and being an absolutely fantastic player. Starts off with the great physicals. He's growing really nicely through the training and his potential. Samir Koude, another one of our Algerians, another has potential to be special left-sided player, has grown to 76, and I haven't touched him on the training this season. So he's going great guns. I can imagine he might be a 78 by the end of the season, potentially, as long as his form doesn't drop. Yeah, so really, you know, that left hand side is very healthy. Sung So this guy we are using as a right winger. He doesn't really play. He's on the bench for the second team. He doesn't really play, but he is growing nicely. So if any of our right-sided players leave, you know, he'll have the opportunity to take their place potentially. We're almost at the end of the scout report now. This is Patrick Cassidy, another player we found in Ireland. We don't know his potential because he hasn't hit 60 yet, and I don't think I've put him in the training yet. So hopefully by the end of the season we'll be able to see his potential. If not, I'll put him in the training and we'll whiz through. But he did look like he had really good potential. But we do need to work on his finishing. But this guy could play cam, he could play striker, and he could be a really good player in the future. And it's nice to have another Irishman on board as well, for me and for Gary Daly. So I think it's maybe one or two more players and then we're done. There's Alrid Olsen, a Norwegian right back. We don't know his potential yet because he hasn't hit 60 yet. But he's grown by 2 points and he's not been in the squad for a long time. Just 2 or 3 months, I think. So the fact that he's growing that well means I think he's at least an exciting prospect. We'll have to wait and see. So I think the last person is probably Marcus Green. It's Marcus Green. A goalkeeper who I thought was going to has potential to be special, but he's an exciting prospect. And yeah, he might be another one we move on. But we haven't made any decisions about transfers for the summer yet. And that concludes the report, squad report for Season 6, March Season 6. See you soon.